Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including the Model S adding a feature promised over 2 years ago, 4680 battery updates, new Cybertruck production updates, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, it's looking like the Tesla Model S Plaid is finally going to start getting its originally promised top speed of 200 miles per hour. When Tesla first announced the Model S Plaid, they promised a top speed of 200 miles per hour, and that's been on the website ever since. When it was first delivered, though, its top speed was actually 163. I actually tested this out on the racetrack, and you can feel the software cutoff when it hits 163. Last year, Tesla released track mode, which pushed the top speed up to 175 miles per hour. The only reason the Plaid couldn't reach 200, though, was because the brakes weren't safe enough. Higher speeds were locked because it needed more effective brakes so you can actually slow down again once you get going that fast. Currently, it requires a carbon ceramic brake kit upgrade, which is $20,000 in the Tesla shop. They started offering this kit last year, but the only car I've seen it installed on is MKBHD's personal Plaid Model S. One owner broke 200 miles per hour last summer after installing third-party brakes themselves and hacking the car's speed limiter a little bit. They managed to hit a top speed of 216 miles per hour before running out of tarmac and braking space. Now though, it's looking like Tesla might begin installing their brake kits soon. A race car driver that has collaborated with Tesla before released a video in partnership with Tesla Belgium. In the video, he does a few test laps in a Plaid Model S with the ceramic brake upgrade and no speed limiter at Circuit du Bresse. When reflecting on the experience, he said this is a completely different animal compared to the stock car. He broke the last record on multiple occasions, and the top speed that he hit in the car was 217 miles per hour. That's even faster than 200 miles per hour and is incredibly impressive to see on this vehicle. The Model X has also been holding its own when it comes to speed. CarWow posted this video of the Tesla Model X Plaid, Ferrari SF90, and Lamborghini SVJ drag racing. For comparison, the Model X Plaid comes in at $109,990 after a recent price drop, and the Ferrari and Lambo it's racing against are both around $500,000 each. The Model X has 1,020 horsepower and is, of course, electric. The Ferrari has 986 horsepower and is a hybrid, and Lambo has 770 horsepower from a V12 engine. They did a best of 3 competition, and the Model X won one, the Ferrari won one, and the third race was too close to call. That's extremely impressive considering this is a family-friendly SUV racing against Italian sports cars. It doesn't make sense how fast this car can go, but it's very fun to see. Next up today, we have some updates on Tesla's 4680 batteries. Tesla considers themselves a vertically integrated company, meaning they own as many parts of their production process as they can, from sales all the way down to mining now. When it comes to batteries, though, they seem to be having trouble keeping up with their other elements of production. As a result, they now appear to be recruiting Chinese and Korean material suppliers in an effort to reduce costs and possibly make their batteries more efficient. According to Reuters, they've been struggling with battery-related performance and production issues recently that have further delayed the launch of the Cybertruck. Quote, repeated delays in moving the new cell from the initial prototype phase to full-scale production also have pushed back introduction of the long-awaited Cybertruck, which was designed to take advantage of the cell's potential improvement in energy density and power, advances that have yet to materialize. Now, Korea's L&F Co., an electronic materials company, has signed a deal with Tesla to supply high-nickel cathodes that could increase the energy density of 4680 cells. 4680 cells were first announced at Battery Day in September of 2020. At that event, Elon Musk promised a 50% reduction in cell cost through a series of innovations, from a larger cell size to a new dry electrode coating process that could reduce the size and cost of a battery factory while increasing cell performance. Tesla has been slow to release this technology, though, like just about everything they've ever announced. So far, they've reportedly figured out how to dry coat the anode, which is the negative electrode, but are still having issues with dry coating the cathode. The cathode is where the most progress is expected to be made, according to Reuters sources. Last October, Elon Musk mentioned during the Q3 2022 earnings call that Cybertruck production would not be dependent on 4680 cells, suggesting it could be initially launched with 2170 cells. Now we're seeing that plan carried out. Tesla's effort to ramp production of the dry coating process has so far gotten them to the point where they can supply batteries for 50,000 vehicles annually. In 2020, Elon said that Tesla would have enough 4680 capacity in-house to supply 1.3 million Model Ys. Reportedly, Tesla executives think Tesla will likely be able to increase 4680 output 5-fold by year-end, but the company is currently trying to minimize risk. Overall, this is good news because it means that Tesla is definitely trying to stick to the deadline for the Cybertruck, but it might mean Cybertrucks will be shipping with older battery technology, technically when it first launches. Next up today, Tesla's charging infrastructure continues to be one of their biggest strengths, and their lead here continues growing each day. We regularly see demonstrations of how much Tesla is ahead when it comes to station uptime, expansion, and overall cost of install. For Tesla, when installing a supercharger, it costs them about 1/5 of the competition, and a big part of this is the elimination of as many failure points as possible. Ultimately, Tesla does not need government funding to keep being incentivized to expand their network, but when it's available, they're a smart business and will adapt as such. The most recent example of this is the way that Tesla is opening their charging network to other automakers by adding the CCS Magic Dock. They had already planned to open their network, but them adding CCS adapters themselves is in part to comply with federal funding requirements. Over in California, though, Tesla has been working on a massive supercharger install, and in the running for $6.4 million in funding from the state of California. This would include 420 individual new supercharging points at 4 locations, with the largest being 164 stalls. That would make it the world's largest charging station. Quote, the California Energy Commission's Clean Transportation Program Rural Electric Vehicle Charging Program was behind the funding. Now, according to multiple sources, Tesla is officially walking away from state funding for these projects. The state funding would have provided $1.6 million per project, and the plans are now up in the air. The reasoning? Tesla doesn't want to comply with payment infrastructure requirements. Tesla's policy and business development lead said, quote, the California Clean Energy Commission, CEC, has been a great visionary in the expansion of electric vehicle EV charging infrastructure in California. Unfortunately, due to unnecessarily cumbersome payment infrastructure requirements, we are unable to utilize this award. This funding also required 50% of stations to have CCS connectors, but it appears that that isn't at all the issue Tesla has, since they're making chargers with these connectors in other markets already. Instead, they want to keep things as simple as possible and accept payment through the Tesla app. Quote, some programs require that charging stations have screens and credit card payment systems directly on the station in order to be eligible for funding. If you've had experience at third-party stations, you've likely noticed that screens and credit card systems often fail, making another failure point for unreliable chargers. I personally had an Electrify America station that appeared to be operational, but couldn't read my card. Tesla definitely wants no part in that, and this clearly demonstrates that they don't need funding for their charging network. $6.4 million in funding didn't convince them to adopt a charger-level payment system, so they likely never will. The app works well and is simple, so it makes the most sense while keeping install and maintenance costs at a minimum for Tesla. As for the fate of these charging stations, I won't be surprised if they still happen. Tesla is likely far along in their plans and will just open up their superchargers on their own terms. They likely will even include 50% or more of them with the Magic Dock CCS connectors, but will handle all payments simply and efficiently through the app. Efficiency is the name of the game at Tesla, and this is another example of how far ahead they are with their own charging network. While other third-party charging providers are wrapping their entire future plans around government funding, Tesla is saying, no thanks, we'll just keep building them how we know is best. What will be interesting to see long-term is how Tesla starts installing V4 superchargers around the world. Over in Europe, Tesla has officially built their first V4 supercharging station. These are larger charging stalls that may be able to handle faster charging speeds long-term and a 1000-volt architecture. For now, though, the only change we can truly see comes with the charging cable. Instead of being stored inside the charging stall, it wraps around the outside, making it a decent amount longer than before because of the entirely different shape of the stall. This should allow these stalls to reach the Cybertruck and other EVs with more ease. Here's a close-up of the charging stall, and the assumption is that this connector will have the Magic Dock built right into the side there. These look a lot like Tesla's smaller urban superchargers, but much larger. They're also very similar to Tesla megachargers that are specifically for the Semi, so Tesla appears to be standardizing a few different types of upgraded chargers for their future. I'm very curious to see when V4 chargers arrive in the US and if they end up solving issues with different EVs having different charge port locations. For now, Tesla is still installing V3 superchargers every day in the US, and it's clear that they have a whole system down and don't want to change anything, even for $6.4 million. Next up today, regarding the Cybertruck, we've seen even more updates there. At Tesla's Investor Day, Matthew, Donegan, Ryan got a lot more Cybertruck information during the meet and greet than was revealed during the presentation. He shared a Twitter thread showing what is apparently the pre-production beta. It's a little bit smaller than an F-150 Raptor, and he said that they'll end up making 2 variants, a dual motor and a higher end version he believes will be tri-motor, both with rear wheel steering. It'll reportedly have a larger 18.5-inch center display and no gauge cluster display. Those details weren't 100% confirmed, but they gave us a better idea as to what we can expect in the production model. He also thought the front trunk was going to work as expected like any other Tesla, But now we have new information supposedly leaked by an employee. It's looking like the hood will open more like the F-150 Lightning, its main competitor. Matthew corrected his thread saying, quote, "A Tesla employee told a friend of mine that I got one thing incorrect in my Cybertruck thread, the frunk. I said it is like the Model X's frunk and only the hood portion opens. Apparently this is not accurate and the Cybertruck frunk is way better. I'm told the frunk opens like a Ford Lightning. The light bar section does lift up." He included in that post a gif of how the F-150 Lightning's mega power frunk opens, suggesting the Cybertrucks will open in a similar way. Many have speculated how exactly the Cybertruck's frunk will compare, noting the different seams on the front that could be meant to open. Matthew responded to this post saying he was told it was going to be option A, which would mean you would open the front trunk by the headlights. There does not appear to be a handle there, so unless the front trunk is going to be automatic, which we haven't heard anything about, you would be touching the front light bar every time you open the frunk. It's also worth noting that the F-150 has stationary headlights to the side of the trunk, and the Cybertruck doesn't, and that might be a problem when it comes to this feature actually getting safely approved. That front trunk design is hugely popular with Lightning owners, so it would definitely be well received by Cybertruck order holders, and I'm especially excited for it to have even more storage space if this is true. Since the Cybertruck is being released later than the competition, it does make sense that Tesla would want to include as many competitive features as possible for the production model. For now though, this is still a case of he said, she said, so we'll have to wait for the official final announcement to see what'll be included in that truck. I also wouldn't be surprised if Tesla doesn't really say anything and the first time we hear about this front trunk is when a customer takes delivery and opens it up. In addition to their new front trunk, the US Patent Office has officially granted Tesla a patent for the Cybertruck wheel design. In February, Tesla patented an ultra-hard, cold-worked steel alloy for the Cybertruck, and now Sawyer Merritt has posted that Tesla was granted a design patent for its Cybertruck wheel design. The design patent is good for 15 years. He included a screenshot of the patent along with a photo from the pre-production model. Just because they've filed for a new patent doesn't necessarily mean they'll be using this final design in the product. They are getting very close to delivery though. Tesla has posted a ton of new jobs on their Giga Texas careers page, with 36 new jobs pertaining to the Cybertruck specifically. A majority of those are manufacturing related, suggesting that initial production of the Cybertruck is coming very soon. It's possible it might even arrive by the summer of this year, which was Elon Musk's last estimate that he gave during Tesla's Q4 2022 earnings call. He added though that I always try to downplay the start of production because the start of production is always very slow. It increases exponentially, but it's always very slow at first. So I wouldn't put too much thought into start of production. It's kind of when does volume production actually happen, and that's next year. That is something that will be very interesting to see. The Cybertruck coming later this year, but having so many orders that the order backlog is probably going to take Tesla a few years. Next up today, a small update that has big implications for home energy. Tesla has officially opened up Powerwall orders a la carte. The Tesla Powerwall is Tesla's home backup energy storage product. Ultimately, working on its own, it will store energy that your home can use during a blackout or even strategically use during peak hours. It gives you energy independence and ensures that you can save money at the same time. The best solution for Powerwalls, though, is pairing it with solar. Adding this to an existing solar panel system on your home can ensure you can get the most out of your panels. But back in 2021, Tesla stopped selling Powerwalls unless you were buying Tesla Solar. This was supply related, but very unfortunate since the Powerwall was unavailable for so many. Now Tesla has opened orders back up, allowing you to simply buy these great batteries for your home. Pricing is as follows. One Powerwall is $9,200, two Powerwalls are $17,200, and three are $25,200. These are the prices without tax and without incentives, which is notable. At the federal level, these should qualify for a tax credit of 30% of their purchase price, which certainly adds up. Tesla has a handy, simple guide as to what this battery could back up, showing that even one Powerwall can handle the energy of many devices. Then, of course, the larger your home and the more reliant you are on electricity with things like an electric water heater, the more you'll need an additional Powerwall. The max you can configure here is 3 Powerwalls, but they technically can work with as many as 10. The timeline is unclear on their website, but this is very exciting to see. Powerwalls are an incredible product, especially when paired with Tesla's app, but they're also becoming even more handy to have with programs like Tesla's virtual power plant. Certain owners earned up to $500 last year selling their excess energy back to the grid in times of need, and that was just the first beta testing of this program. It'll only be expanding into the future. The other great thing is that if you ordered Tesla Solar but were one Powerwall short of what you find yourself needing, it's something you can now expand. For myself, we purchased a home in July, so this year I started looking into Tesla Solar. I ideally wanted to get in before NEM 2.0 changes to NEM 3.0 in California. So I went through Tesla's whole order process, configured my system with 2 Powerwalls, and had an assessment scheduled. When they arrived, they immediately told me that my roof type was disqualified and my order would be canceled. The roof is in decent shape, but the tiles are apparently too heavy for Tesla to install solar on top of. My only options to proceed with Tesla are to re-roof or to get the Tesla solar roof. However, they only will install that through a third party in my area of Los Angeles County. The solar roof is also very pricey. Now that Powerwalls are available a la carte though, if I really want to have Powerwalls, my options are a bit more open to seeing what other solar panels I could get. If another company thinks my roof is fine and I trust them, I can still create a Tesla solar system using multiple Powerwalls I purchased directly from Tesla. I'll keep you updated, but since Tesla is requiring a re-roof, I'm not too hopeful I'll be getting this installed soon from any company. We'll see. Last up today, an update about another automaker. Over at Lexus, they've started taking orders for their first all-electric vehicle, the RZ450e. It's the luxury version of parent company Toyota's BZ4X, and they've shared some new photos. It shares the same eTNGA platform with the BZ4X, as well as the Subaru Solterra. They tout its innovative design inside and out, but I think it looks pretty similar to the BZ4X. It starts at $59,650 and comes in 2 trims, premium and luxury. The base model is all-wheel drive, and the only paint color without an extra charge is black. It has a panoramic glass roof, 14-inch display, has a 71.4 kilowatt-hour battery, and an estimated 220-mile range. That price makes it almost $5,000 more expensive than the Model Y with a much shorter range. Like most legacy car makers, this EV will be made available through a dealer rather than a direct-to-consumer model. Overall, I think Lexus and Toyota are going to find that this vehicle is just not competitive enough, especially at its price point long-term. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the reason why I quit Turo after just under 100 rentals, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.